Hey, folks, welcome to Grab a Stack of Rock with the out of focus Mad Metal Man and Mike. And we're just awaiting on the arrival of our guest of honor, Mr. Tim Durling, the author of The Sound That Haunts You. Now, you may say to yourself, why is Harrison on the left? And it's basically because this is a Harrison episode. Hello to Marty LeBlanc and Henry Wright. This is a Harrison episode tonight because, as you know, I injured my ribs last week. That's why I'm leaning way back in this chair, and that's why Harrison's going to be doing most of the talking. But tonight the topic's Fleetwood Mac, and that's more Harrison's thing than mine anyway. So, Harrison, while we wait for Tim, maybe you want to tell me why you're thanked in the back of this book. Oh, just 1 second before we get to that. Thanks for asking, Chris. They're really not good. I'm having a rough day today. And it's Dan in the house, too. Go ahead, Harrison.
All right, so I still maintain that this credit I receive in the back is an exaggeration, because basically Tim would occasionally go and ask me, "Oh, do you have such and such, bonus release that I don't have?" For example, I had the Rumors 3 CD, which has a bonus disc of like demos and stuff, and then a bonus disc of live from the tour. And Tim actually didn't have that. Funnily enough, that copy of Rumors that I had was actually missing the first disc, Rumors, just the album. So it was just like, well, I got it for a real good price because it was missing the first disc, and it's only like one of the best-selling albums of all time. I'm sure I'll be able to find a replacement disc. And I also helped him with the bonus tracks on the deluxe edition of Say You Will.
There he is. How you doing, Tim?
Oh, I'm feeling great. So good.
Yeah. So
Man,
I mentioned
so good.
So I mentioned in the comments tonight that we have 2 sick cast members, which would be Tim and myself. But hopefully Tim is on the healing side of his head cold, I guess we'll call it.
It's a man cold. Don't you know a man cold when you say one? I got to tell you though, these Cepacol lozenges, the closest thing to heavy drugs I've ever done, man. They totally numb your tongue and inside of your, yeah.
Mike, your audio's just cut out for whatever reason.
It did.
There we go. Tim, you sound good though. Your voice is good.
But yeah, give me an hour.
Well, if anybody,
I'll sound like Lemmy in about an hour.
If anybody needs to cut out early, we all know why. But as this is therapy show tonight, I have 2 guest questions, but I'll leave it up to Harrison. You just tell me, you take it from here.
Well, I'd like to get the guest questions done early in case you have to leave early, but I will open up with one question for Tim's so how did you decide the scope of the book, specifically how far deep you would go into each album regarding bonus tracks and box set exclusive material?
I really tried to cover every officially released Fleetwood Mac song. I know I've missed at least one.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've got this, and since I do not have the deluxe version of the 1975 album, I missed "Get Like You Used to Be,"
which is a cover of a Chicken Shack song, I believe.
Which was Christine's band prior to, yeah. We should talk about that live album because it's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was the reason I bought that box set, is because I wanted that live set. Speaking of that, now you've got that CD. Which one was it? Was it Say You Love Me? Is that on there? Because we discussed ahead of time, there appeared to be a track listing error.
It's not. I don't believe.
So they specifically left one song off there that's still exclusive to the box set for whatever reason.
It's the kind of thing that gives Mike fits over here.
Yeah, that's true. I hate when well, not so much anymore, but back in the olden days before I met Mr. Durling, I used to like to only have one copy of a thing. So it really infuriated me when I bought an upgraded version of something and I needed to keep the old deluxe edition in favor of the,
Well, don't get me wrong. In a perfect world, one copy should be all you need, but we know that they keep
we have an illness
seeming. Well, they never give you everything at once, right?
Yeah.
You know how you like back in the olden days, when you bought an album, it had 10 songs on it or so. You never thought, I wonder what didn't get on the album. You never even thought about it. You just thought,
I actually beg to differ, and I'm sorry, I don't want to sidetrack Harrison's show, but when Kiss Crazy Nights came out in 1987 and I listened to it at my neighbor's house for the first time, he turned to me and he said, after the song I'll Fight Hell to Hold You, he goes, imagine the stuff that didn't make the album. So some nerds did think of that.
oh,
kind of
I'm,
thing. Anyway, sorry, I'm
I
already
didn't.
derailing Harrison's show.
It never even occurred to me. It never even occurred to me that there would be, I always thought, a band went into a studio or wrote 10 songs, and 10 songs is what they came out with.
Since Mr. Marty LeBlanc's in the comments, Harrison, do you want me to run his questions?
I think now's a good time.
Marty, I'm surprised you're not at the.
Yeah, let's do the
you're
shout
not.
out.
Oh, you're not in Moncton anymore. Right?
Let's do that shout out that you wanted to
Shout out to the TVC crew, as in Matt and Jax and Bug, who are kicking it tonight at Casino NB in Moncton at Great White and Slaughter. And
on Jack Russell's birthday.
On Jack Russell's birthday. And I in another lifetime, I might have gone to that, but it's just as well that I didn't, because I can't. I do well to do this. I couldn't handle a concert, although I'm sure it would be good. I went to a show with pneumonia once, but that was dumb.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't know I had pneumonia. I just thought I had a really bad cold that wouldn't go away.
Well, I've had
that's
pneumonia.
Not what I've got now, but anyway.
Well, let's take it away with Mr. Marty LeBlanc, good friend of the TVC crew. Here is 2 questions from Marty.
Hey, Tim. I have a 2-part question from Martin LeBlanc, and he would like to know which book of yours you are the most proud of and which took the longest. Let us know, Tim. We're all curious.
I'm guessing by your reaction that you couldn't hear that.
I did.
Okay.
I heard enough of it.
Okay.
Oh, man. Well, Unspooled took the longest because it was new territory for me, for Matt. It was Kickstarter. It was totally, I'd never done anything like that before. So of course it took the longest. We've got a pretty good system now, as far as, I don't want to say churning them out in terms of like product. But we just, you get better at it as you go. You like to think that you do. As far as the book I'm proudest of, man, I probably got to go with the Y&T book because it remains my bestseller, and people are always, commenting that. And I'm so glad that there's a book on Y&T now, and plus the fact that Hugh frickin' Syme did the cover art. That's a high I will never top. That's not going to happen again.
So there you go, Marty.
Roger Dean is not going to design a book cover for me. You know what I mean? Like Hypnosis or so. You know what I mean? Like that's a once in a lifetime thing.
There you go, Marty. Great answers there. Great questions too. Thanks, buddy. All right, Harrison.
All right, so you did miss out on the chance to include Get Like You Used to Be in the book. Do you want to give your thoughts on the song here and now so we have them on record?
I think it's really good. I think it's really good, actually. It's cool to hear Christine singing like, excuse me, sorry, an up-tempo like blues song. But I got to tell you, I think the highlight on that album for me is Lindsay and Stevie singing Station Man. That is so good. It just solidifies. These are Fleetwood Mac songs. And the for those that don't know, I mean, Live 1975, the self-titled album that they came out in 75 with, which was the international breakthrough, they were still playing like theaters, and they weren't playing the big arenas. I don't think that happened until Rumors, but I mean, this album did really, really well for them. And because they didn't have a massive back catalog, they did a lot of older songs. And so this is not like, live versions of all the songs from the 75 album. You've got Oh Well, you've got The Green Manalishi, you've got Don't Let Me Down Again, Hypnotized, Why, Spare Me a Little, like, yeah, really good. Once I realized that was a Chicken Shack cover, I felt a little bit better about it, but it's still an officially released Fleetwood Mac song, and it is sort of Christine covering herself. So, yeah, I wished I'd known about it, but hey.
Yeah, I love that live album. It's a great slice of that era, that specific era before Rumors came out. But
yeah,
when
they weren't quite the machine that they became. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, but they got so big and they just got better at what they did. So you could tell by the stage introductions and things like that. There's a genuine excitement. I'm not making any sense, guys, but anyway, I'm just, it's a very specific era, right? They're in their stardom had come, but not superstardom.
And like you said, we get some of those older songs that would be phased out of the set list later. Like, I love the cover of Get Like You Used to Be. I think it's better than the original.
Okay, Henry,
I think it's got a bit more life to it.
Here, if you don't get the deluxe version of the 1975 album, this literally just came out. You can get this off Amazon, or if you're near anywhere that actually sells albums. It was a Record Store Day exclusive on vinyl. Matt picked me up a copy of that. I haven't got it yet. But here it is. This is what it looks like, and it's really, really good.
So wait,
yeah, my favorite song on that one has to be Stevie and Lindsay singing "I'm So Afraid" together, and Stevie just gets really, really unchained on the backing vocals there.
That's good too, but there's something about Station Man where they take that song from all the way back to Kiln House. That was a Jeremy Spencer song, and they make it so that it sounds like something from their era. And that just, to me, it's like, it's one of the great things about this band that they can own any song, or like, sort of any era, because there are a lot of them. And over the years, I think they always did well in concert, but yeah, a lot of those other songs would drop over time. Like Don't Let Me Down Again is from the Buckingham Nicks album, but, and it could be the same version, but I know it's on the 1980 live album, but it's from a version from 1975, I think.
Yeah, there is one song from the I think it's the expanded version of the Fleetwood Mac live that's taken from the 75 tour, but the rest are all 77, 79, and 80.
Yeah, that's the expanded edition is good, although it doesn't really make any sense because it's got songs from 80. It's got songs from Mirage on it. Which
it's got Hold Me on it. Yeah.
It's got Brown Eyes. It doesn't. Yeah. Well, no, that's from Tusk. Sorry, but yeah. But it's okay. It's all good. But they eventually put that out by itself, like the Mirage Tour 82.
Yeah, before Mirage Tour Live came out, that was actually a worthy addition to get Hold Me live.
Yeah, and it was cheaper than trying to find an old copy of the live album on CD, which probably, if I'm not mistaken, would have come in one of the big, thick CD cases.
Not to mention the bonus disc of extra music that comes with
that too. Version. Yeah, so I wasn't planning on getting anything that day that I went to Sunrise. I'm like, well, I don't have this on CD. So
yeah, I had a similar experience. I was in my local CD store. Suddenly I'm like, this has Green Manalishi done.
Yeah, Lindsay singing Green Manalishi is cool. I mean, it's so cool to hear those old songs brought up to date.
Yeah, and Stevie's the one doing the whoa backing vocals in the outro,
which totally fits, right? It good stuff.
I gotta hear this.
Yeah, Mike. Right. I did make sure Mike had something. Although I don't know if he wants to talk about this, but
I did an unboxing video last week. The day after I bruised my ribs, I opened some parcels and I sent Tim a one-word instant message. The word started with an F when I opened up the CD. And it was Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. This came from the UK. So that's the update to that video, is that I don't have this Fleetwood Mac album.
I sent him the tracks on it just because, I mean, you should. And I got a partial refund from the seller, but that's actually a pretty good introduction to to the early stuff, because if you look at the back cover of that CD, there's a lot of song titles I'm sure you recognize. You know, The Green Manalishi, Black Magic Woman, Stop Messing Around, Need Your Love So Bad.
Yeah.
So that actually jumps one of the questions I had, which was, what do you think the best place to start for non-Lindsey Buckingham Fleetwood Mac is?
Oh, well, that's actually the best place to start for the Peter Green era. But if you really like the Buckingham Nicks era, the Bob Welch era is not that far off. Like, I would say get Bare Trees. That's a great album. Or Mystery to Me. I would say, or there's a compilation that came out called Best of Fleetwood Mac 1969 to 1974. There was also a box set, but there is a single disc compilation that's pretty good too. I mean, it actually starts out with Oh Well, because Reprise Records has the rights to then play on. So that's the only stuff of the Peter Green era that Reprise Warner has the rights to. The rest of it's sort of like, sometimes it's Sony, sometimes it's Blue Horizon. You know, it's a little iffy.
Yeah,
but Marty,
also
there
25 years the Chain box set as well, which is also
that's good too. Yeah, Marty, there would be no Judas Priest version witout an original.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It is pretty, you know, I've said this many times. The original version of the Green Manalishi could have fit on the first Sabbath album. It's doomy and spooky in a way that you'd never, because, you know, most people, if they know anything about this era, they're like, oh, they were a blues band. Well, yeah, but they would take some turns. LSD was a hell of a drug, I guess.
All right, so we're going to go away from the band into the book now. Now, I'm probably anticipating the answer to this question, but what was the hardest album to write about?
Oh, well, probably Rumors.
I've guessed as much. You may comment about that in the book itself.
Yeah, I didn't do the chapters in order, and I think Rumors wasn't the last one I did, but it was one of them. Because it's like, what can I say about this album? Now, I say that one, and there's another one that I kind of ducked out of, because it's not an album per se, but it's the Blues Jam in Chicago, or Fleetwood Mac in Chicago, which is the 1969 sessions that they did with Honey Boy Edwards and S.P. Leary and all those Chicago blues guys. I didn't even bother with that, because there's a book out that deals with that much more than I could, because also, like I said in the book, I'm not much of a blues guy. In all, you know, with all due respect, I can only listen to so much just plain old blues, which before it all starts to sound the same to me. I know people don't like that, but I'm not going to lie and pretend that I'm on the bandwagon. I respect it as a genre. All the music I love wouldn't exist if it weren't for the blues. But those first two Fleetwood Mac albums, it gets really hard to describe each song on it, because they all start like they're all the 12-bar blues. And there are some, I think it's the second album, Mr. Wonderful, where one song goes into another. One's a cover, one's an original, and I didn't know it switched tracks. But I don't have an ear for it. Okay, so that's just my opinion. But I will say that if you want to check out one of the Peter Green albums, then Play On is the one. That's a great, really good album. And yeah, do we want to talk about their horrific artwork on some of these album covers? Like,
I actually did have a question lined up about what's your favorite plus least favorite album covers.
You know, I really like Tango in the Night. I think that's that's
my favorite album cover.
That's actually a piece of art, and that I was a long time before I realized that there's a crocodile in the water.
Two actually.
Two.
One in the background. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Do you know the difference between an alligator and a crocodile?
It's about the teeth. I can't tell you which is which though.
One will see you later. One will see you in a while.
Or that, yeah. This is an album I'd buy on vinyl just to have up on my wall.
Seepical. Sorry,
Harrison. Is crocs in Australia? Because you had the Croc Hunter, right? Is that the guy's name?
I think Crocodile Dundee. Yeah, I guess that there we have crocodiles.
Okay, that's very important.
As far as least favorite, the answer is in the book. It's the one that I made sure I had Matt partially cover with the CD of it because it's so horrifically bad. And that is Heroes Are Hard to Find from 1974. Terrible, 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 terrible album cover. I don't know what they were thinking. It's almost terrible on a Scorpions level.
Okay, there we go.
That is Mick Fleetwood. That is Mick Fleetwood and one of his daughters times 3. Yeah.
Okay.
But I did not want to. I mean, that's one of the. We didn't really have any disagreements over the layout of this book, but that was one of them because I didn't even want to use the cover. I wanted to use the back cover photo of the band that's on the inside of the CD booklet. He said, "You got to use the cover," and then he said, "What about this?" And he sent me what you see there, and I'm like, "Okay, that'll work."
Well done, Matt. Well done.
Yeah,
a good compromise leaves everyone equally unhappy.
No, I think, you know what, he's right. You should actually use the, I talked about this. I was talking to someone, actually it's an episode that hasn't aired yet, but Mike will know this on the Kiss Extreme Close-Up home video. You know how as they're talking about each album, the album cover will go by, except for one.
Remind me.
All they do is they send the title by because it has two covers.
Remind me. Oh, Creatures. Yeah.
And that was just like, because at that time I was obsessed with that album, and all you could find was the non-makeup cover.
That's
and
right.
It was like they can't even show it. Can't even show a good version of it. Anyway, I digress.
Nope, that's true.
Yeah.
Mike, I think it's time for another viewer question.
Okay. So this one comes from a former guest and probably future guest as well, and friend of the show, Angie Moon.
Hi, Tim. I really enjoyed your book about Fleetwood Mac. This is exactly the thing that my teenage self needed when I was getting into classic rock. Thank you so much for the review copy, and thank you to Mike Lodano for recommending me by name to Tim. That was very nice of you. You've been there since the beginning. Thank you so much for your support. I know you're more into 80s music, but if you were to write one of these kind of beginner's companions for another 60s or 70s rock band, which one would you pick and why?
Well, thank you, Angie. Yeah, Angie wrote a very, very good review of it, and I can tell you right now, I saw results. I saw a spike in book sales, so that was awesome.
Oh, way to go, Angie! Thank you.
I know what she means because this is off the beaten path for my books. They tend to be kind of on the harder rock side of things. Not that there's not plenty of guitar in Fleetwood Mac's music. But, they're kind of all over the place in style and genre. I don't even know how you define them. But I am working on 2 books right now. Mike knows about one of them, although he's been pretty slack at sending me the content.
I promise. I'm committed to doing a lot of work over the Christmas holidays.
And they're both bands that started in the 70s. One formed actually in 1969. Not exactly a band like Fleetwood Mac, but I think that there's a definite need for it. I'm not going to go any deeper into it than that. I have to be a fan. I have to be a pretty big fan to do a book. But there will be more. There will definitely be more. Because this was a real eye-opener in deviating from my normal patterns. And I'm a creature of habit. I like to be organized as much as possible. But I'm really glad that my mother-in-law kind of haphazardly suggested that I wrote her a Fleetwood Mac book, is how she put it. And then I got thinking about, well, how would I do it? How would I approach it? And that's where you get the beginner's companion, because after 12 years of listening, it still feels like I'm a beginner to this band. Obviously, I'd heard their songs before, but I never dug in. So, and it's been a very rewarding, dive. But this book is just an extension to that. But even when I started listening, I don't even think I thought that I was going to do a book. See, Marty, that's the thing. I'm a Kiss fan. what am I going to write about Kiss? I've got no Kiss book in me. I've got no new angle. That's the problem. That's why you will never see a book by me on Kiss or Rush or Queen, bands that I absolutely love.
What about Leopard?
Same. I'll tell you right now, December 12th, Church of Leopard. That's the book. Yeah, that's the book right there. I can't better that. And go to churchofleopard.com to find out more. But anyway, I'm supposed to be talking about my books, but I can't, But unless I can find an angle that hasn't been done before, I wouldn't be able to write another biography, or I'm not feeling it. I know that's a cliche, but if I'm not feeling it, it's not going to be good. It wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be like, why haven't you written a Kiss book? It's why did you write a crappy Kiss book? And I don't want to do that. So who knows? Something may come along where I go, oh, what if I did this? Anything's possible, but I can't see it. There's so many great Kiss books out there. As a matter of fact, there's one that's an upcoming episode of mine. And there's another one that I just got that's not, I haven't reviewed it yet. I've been in contact with the author, but we haven't set a date to record yet. But anyway, there's lots of great Kiss books out there. I wouldn't go near Vinnie Vincent with that. No. I'll let Mike Ladano do the definitive Vinnie Vincent Invasion album review, being such a big fan.
Yeah. That is not a popular topic on my blog. I will say that.
I'm sorry. That stuff, it makes my ears bleed.
Yeah. Well,
it's too much. It's too much.
That was my whole
wait until you hear about the second Joey Tempest.
Oh yeah, don't even go there, Harrison.
Really?
Yeah, apparently there's 2 Joey Tempests. They replaced him on
yeah. I remember you talking. I've always said that you could put Mike, if you want proof of alien life, put Mike Ladano out in the middle of a field. They'll come to him. He'll find them.
They'll find me.
That idiot that insists that hearing aid's an easy CD to find. You can get one for $50. Where are you looking? And what currency are you looking at?
Man, I wish I was feeling laughter right now. Gentlemen, I'm going to have to cut out. I am going to let Harrison, well, he's been running the show anyway. I'm going to let Harrison take over. I'm going to go off camera for the balance of the show, but I will return at the end because Harrison and I want to talk about upcoming events. So I will be behind the scenes from this point forward. Thanks, Harrison, for doing this. Really appreciate it. And you'll see me behind the scenes very shortly. Take over, Harrison.
Mike is going behind the mask, so to speak.
Yes. I'm going to concur with reviews and say that this book was exactly what I needed as a major fan of the Buckingham Nicks era, but haven't really tried to go into any other albums of the band. As I was reading, I had a big long list on my phone of songs to check out.
Well, thank you. And that was definitely the goal, because it is intimidating. There are so many albums. It's like, how do you know where to start? I mean, in the advent of digital or YouTube, you could look up anything, but again, you have to have something to start with. You can't just listen to everything all at once. So I'm hoping that people get an idea of what each album kind of has in store, or they might find that, they read a title and they go, oh, that song title sounds familiar. And then they listen to it and they go, I guess I have heard this song, that sort of thing.
Yeah. All right. So what was like the coolest thing you found out diving into the band's history? For me, it would be learning about Dave Walker's involvement and that there's actually no Stevie Nicks on Big Love.
Yeah, that's interesting. That Dave Walker is an interesting chapter. I mean, as we're recording this, I think it's just within the last week or so, some footage has surfaced of his very brief stint with Black Sabbath. I don't know why they hired him. I really don't. I'm not saying
I think he was a friend of Iommi's.
No, I don't mean Sabbath. I mean Fleetwood Mac. Because he's got this raspy, bluesy voice. Unless I know they got him for the Penguin album, which came out after Bare Trees, which was the last album with Danny Kirwan. So maybe they said, well, we're going to have a guy to sing any of the old songs, because he's only got 2 songs on the Penguin album. One of them's a Motown cover, and he didn't last. So that was a very strange, like, blink and you missed it. Like, both of those bands is like blink and you missed it. Yeah, Logan's absolutely right. Mystery to me is a superb album. Yeah, you know, I used to think that was Stevie on the end of Big Love, but I mean, it's funny. Lindsay got pretty good with Vera speeding his voice to sound like Stevie. One of the interesting things, and it wasn't something that I would originally planned on adding it in. It was more out of, you know, I don't want to put a book out that's 90 pages. Was the idea to see how many different covers I could find of Fleetwood Mac songs, and say, okay, can I find 100 unique Fleetwood Mac covers, songs that were covered by 100 different artists? It was really fascinating to hear so many different interpretations of the band's catalog from their first album all the way up through the 2000s. Some of the songs obviously are pretty well known, like, you know, like Santana doing Black Magic Woman, but it's there are things that I didn't know, like, you know, I didn't know the Pointer Sisters did Hypnotized. You know, I didn't know Leif Garrett did Bare Trees. These are things that I didn't find out until, like, going on Discogs and looking at the songwriters and what, you know. I did the same thing when I did my Sammy Hagar book, you know, to find out, number one, the songs that he did that he didn't write on his albums, who did them, who else did them, or who did them originally, and then who covered songs that he wrote. So that led me down some interesting rabbit holes. Oddly enough, it's not a Fleetwood Mac song, but on Sammy Hagar's debut solo album, 9 out of 10 scale, he does a song called China, which is actually a Bob Welch tune. That's not a Fleetwood Mac song, but it is Bob Welch.
Yeah, and Iron Maiden have famously covered Montrose's "I've Got the Fire"
and Space Station No. 5.
Oh yes, and that one too later on in their career.
Yeah, I think, didn't they do "I've Got the Fire" with Deano and Bruce?
Deano and Bruce, yeah.
Yeah, "I've Got the Fire" is such a great song, and it was begging for a heavier cover of it.
Yeah, it was probably the cover. It was one of the few covers Iron Maiden played live, and it's probably the most common cover they ever played live.
See, no, I didn't know that. I would have, as somebody that's not really a fan, I would have guessed Women in Uniform, because they actually shot a video for it.
Yeah, except they hated the studio meddling with that track, so it kind of got buried after release. Yeah, I've Got the Fire would make an occasional sort of show closer on special shows, and then they played Tush a few times during their career as well.
Oh yeah. I wonder if they've ever had, I don't think they have, but if they ever had, like, Sammy Hagar on stage with them, like, that would have been cool.
Yeah, unlikely. They don't tend to share the stage. They did play with Tush with Blackfoot once at Reading. But anyway, let's get back to Fleetwood.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the band you actually like. So, all right, speaking of book length, what made the decision to sort of skim over the live albums? Because I know, like, the dance, I think just gets a picture and a few words sort of thing.
Right. So I did that section is I think I called it other songs. So these are like, you know, the greatest hits album.
My Little Demon
had 2 new songs on it, and the dance had 4 new songs on it, and, you know, songs that were B-sides or songs that didn't come out until some of the box sets. I tried to gather those all up there, songs that didn't belong to an album.
Yeah. And there are some on the dance that remained exclusive to the dance and presumably never got a studio version. And then there's one that did.
I don't know if it's on my end, but I couldn't hear you.
Sorry. I was just saying, basically, there are some songs on the dance that remained exclusive to the dance and never got a studio version.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 songs. It's just Bleed to Lover that ended up on Say You Will, which is interesting. I mean, I still think that, especially with and I say this in the book, I think they could have made Say You Will 2 10-song albums and stretched them out, because the albums just got too long at that point.
Yeah, that would be my criticism of Say You Will, my criticism of Time, probably my criticism of Behind the Mask. It's just a bit too long. They just lose steam.
A greatest hits album is great. Just fill up the edges of it with well-known songs. For a brand new studio album, and lots of bands did this. I always pick on Kiss. I call it hot in the shade syndrome. Once they realize, hey, we can put 78 minutes of music on here, let's do it. And you just, it almost doesn't matter how good the last 3 or 4 songs is. You're tuned out. You're ready for something else. And in the case of Fleetwood Mac, where there's so few albums to talk about, I always think, wouldn't it be great if we had 2 albums that came out in the first decade of the 2000s instead of just one? And they had, 2 different titles, 2 different sets of cover art to talk about. Another thing about Say You Will is, I think that has a lot of good songs on it, but you really miss Christine breaking up the sound of like Lindsay, Stevie, Stevie, Lindsay, Lindsay, Stevie, you know what I mean? Like, great as they are, you miss Christine on that album.
Christine is like the one vocal link that's there pretty much throughout the entire career. So when you're listening to Time, Christine is basically the thing that sounds most like Fleetwood Mac on that album. No disrespect to McVie and Fleetwood, whose actually names are in the band. But
anybody that's read that book knows my opinion on that Time album. But I do think that Christine has one song on that album that is actually pretty good. But I don't want to say too much because, as people know that they're watching my channel, doing a deep dive series on all of the albums, and you may see Harrison on a couple of these, and it might just be this very album we're talking about.
Yeah, to quote Tim's book and a Fleetwood Mac song, I may not give the answer that you want me to.
Look, I always say somebody out there's got to like something, but I will say this, and it's the absolute truth. As someone who, sorry, I get stuffed up again. As someone who started in radio in the early 90s, by 1995, I was regularly seeing the magazines coming through, the chart books, the chart magazines. I did not know Fleetwood Mac had an album out in 1995 for many years. That's how little it was promoted, and that's how under the radar it was, and how the dance totally saved everything for them.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, Mike.
You know how I knew that they had an album out in 95? Because I was working in a used CD store, and anytime anybody came in looking for Fleetwood Mac, the only album I had in stock was Time.
Wow. I mean, that was like the Invisible album.
Speaking of Invisible, I'll be back at the end of the show.
The disappearing Ladano.
Yeah, I personally, I love live albums. I think The Dance is the finest hour of the Fleetwood Mac band.
I remember it was interesting that album was really, really big for them. I think it sold something like 8 million copies, and I know it introduced the band to a younger generation. Yeah, good point. Good point. Rumors was their 11th album or 12th album.
I mean, you could be mistaken for thinking the 1975 self-titled was their first
was the
album
first.
As well.
Yeah. So that's just that's how different things were. But The Dance introduced a younger generation of the band's music, and as someone who wasn't a fan at the time, just hearing the songs on the radio, I thought Silver Springs was a new song. I didn't know that was a 20-year-old song. I did not know the history of that song and how significant it was that it finally kind of saw the light of day and kind of took its place as a Fleetwood Mac standard. A lot has been made about watching Stevie and Lindsay performing that song, and the eye contact and all that.
One time I was just on the train, and I saw this young girl, and she had a shirt on that was saying "Can't talk," thinking about Stevie Nicks staring daggers at Lindsey Buckingham during the dance performance of Silver Springs, and I love that shirt.
Yeah, I've seen that. What is my Roman Empire is watching Stevie. Yeah, it's that sort of thing. The other one I've seen, I've seen one where people post the clip of them doing The Chain from the Mirage Tour. It's like everybody talks about Silver Springs, yes, but what would you call this, where they're practically, yelling at each other, "If you do not love me now," like it's pretty intense. But then again, that Mirage tour, Sarah and I reviewed that, and if you watch that, that's a very unique look into that band's history at the time.
The drugs had definitely started to affect the stage performance by that point,
especially Stevie. Yeah,
1979. I'm like, that's the last year that Fleetwood Mac was like truly great on stage until the drugs sort of started taking over.
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, they weren't unique in that, but I mean, they were so popular. They had the resources, and it was just part of the scene, you know. But yeah, not that the Mirage tour isn't enjoyable for, you know. I actually quite like the album. I really like Mirage. I think it gets a little bit of the short stick when it comes to the albums that they did, because it's not the self-titled or Rumors, because those are so iconic. Tusk has a reputation of all its own, and Tango in the Night was such a great comeback album. Mirage kind of gets overlooked. I think it's great. I think there's some fantastic songs on that album.
Yeah, I am guilty of being one of those people who overlook Mirage. But,
yeah,
one of my favorite.
It's just an album of good songs. It doesn't have. There's no story that goes along with it. Although I think one of the interesting stories is that in '81, Stevie puts out Belladonna, her first solo album, and Mirage sold half as many copies. That had to have changed a few dynamics in the band.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about watching Fleetwood Mac on stage is actually Mick Fleetwood. While there's all this relationship drama going on in the front, he's just there in the back being like some crazy goblin, eyes wide, just drumming along.
He always looks like he's working harder than he needs to for what he's playing. And yeah, the crazy eyes. And it makes sense when I read somewhere. I always thought that the character of Animal on the Muppets was modeled after Keith Moon. Turns out it was modeled after Mick Fleetwood. And that makes a lot of sense, because the Muppet Show started in the late 70s. And yeah, Animal's got the wild eyes, and he's like looming all over the kit. And then
can I ask a trivia question of I'm gonna ask Harrison, because I think Tim knows the answer. Let's see, Harrison, can you name the two science fiction shows / movies that Mick Fleetwood was in?
The Running Man.
Why? Yeah, that's one.
I know that one. I don't know the other.
I don't know the second.
Okay, I'm surprised. Star Trek: The Next Generation. He played a fish.
All right.
You can't tell it's him at all. He's wearing a big fish head, but that's him. He just wanted to be on Star Trek.
You know, it would have been really funny to play a fish. Is either Fish from Marillion or Chris Squire from Yes, because his nickname was the Fish.
Or Trey Anastasio from Fish.
From Fish, yeah.
I'll be back at the end of the show.
Yeah.
No,
I knew The Running Man.
I knew The Running Man, and if my memory serves me, I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but wasn't his character's name Mick?
I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I think I heard something about him just playing a post-apocalyptic version of himself.
He didn't play Mick. Hang on. I'm a big Running Man fan, but
wasn't Dweezil Zappa as part of that thing?
Do you remember his one and only line in the film?
No.
Don't touch that dial.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. I'm just looking up the Running Man film.
But am I remembering that right? With like part of that resistance group, wasn't Dweezil Zappa one of the actors there too? Yes. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Don't touch that dial was his big line. Okay, 1987 film. There it is. Mick Fleetwood. Ben Richards was Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, and Mick Fleetwood he did play Mick, but with a C instead of a CK. And Dweezil Zappa played a character named Stevie. So there you go. You know what? I'll just hang in for the rest of the episode. May as well.
All I heard was named Stevie. I cut out.
Dweezil Zappa's character was named Stevie. They
stayed up all night to think of that, didn't they?
I may as well hang in for the rest of the episode.
I've got a couple of questions to round it out then. The first being, in what ways, if any, did the writing process for this book differ from your other ones?
It was very similar to my Sammy Hagar book, and then it was all me. And it's similar to another book I'm working on. So it's very, very different. Very, very different than doing a panel book. It's a totally different process. I like doing both. Maybe someday I'll find a third way of doing it, but right now this seems to work for me, like flipping back and forth between the two. It's very similar to the Hagar one, the layout of it. It's just that the difference is that with the Sammy Hagar book, I've been not a lifelong fan, but a fan since I was probably about 13 or so. With the Fleetwood Mac book, like I said, I've been a fan for about the last 12 years. So it's a lot different than music that's ingrained in your head from junior high school. So that's why it was all the more important that I got my facts straight.
Yeah, I know Iron Maiden like the back of my hand, and still every time on the series I make a mistake and I'm watching, it's like, oh no.
But at the same time, I look at that as like, if it's live and because you know so much about the band, there's a lot of stuff. And it's like you're seeking something and sometimes the fortune wheel lands on the wrong thing.
What gets me is when I think I know something's correct, so I don't check it. Like with Journeyman and in Dance of Death, we were talking about Journeyman and Prodigal Son, and I corrected Lana about something because I just thought, oh yeah, Journeyman's the semi-acoustic, Prodigal Son's the full acoustic. But no, it was the other way around. But I just had it in my head that Journeyman was the semi-acoustic, so I didn't bother checking it. But oh god, that was a clone.
Look, I've done the foot and mouth thing so many times.
Harrison's best moment was in an outtake when we did No Prayer for the Dying.
Oh yeah.
He said, what was it? The assassin was wasn't the assassin a sequel?
Yeah.
To the Fugitive? And
I was talking about The Prisoner, and then it was Back in the Village was the song I was thinking of.
It was The Fugitive a sequel to The Prisoner or something like that? I can't remember. But anyway, your classic line was, "Oh my god, I'm being pedantic and I'm not even being right about it."
Yes, exactly. Oh my god, I'm a pedantic ass, and the worst bit is I'm not even correct about it.
Yeah.
If
you're going to be so confident about it, you got to be able to back it up.
Or just be so overwhelmingly confident that people just take your word for it. Just like, he can't be wrong.
That's dangerous.
I was not. Yeah,
that's dangerous when somebody says, "Yeah, well, Tim knows everything about 8-tracks." I certainly do not. I certainly do not, because one of these days, all of a sudden, somebody will pop up and say, "Hey, Master of Puppets is on 8-track." Okay.
Just wait until 8-tracks come back in vogue, like cassettes, and then they start putting out new 8-tracks.
Well, some bands do. Some bands do, right, Mike? Ghost has put out a few, haven't they?
I don't know if Ghost has, but a lot of those
they have. I know they have.
I know I've seen a lot of like hipster bands do 8-track tapes. But I think the problem is the reason that technology is not really going to come back is because the mechanisms were so much more complicated. The tapes themselves, more wear and tear on an 8-track tape than a cassette.
What I think would be a great idea is maybe make them a little bit smaller, but to scale. But put a USB stick, so all you have to do is go like that, and it'll still play the album.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun. But...
So my final question, which has become a bit of a tradition that I ask music authors now, is, do you have any advice for aspiring music authors?
Surround yourself with talented people.
Matt Phillips,
Go North Design. My books wouldn't exist without him.
He is so talented.
Being lifelong friends with someone is a help. Make sure you have a good proofreader, like I do with Bug Campbell, because proofreading sucks, but it's so important. It's so important to have it say don't when you don't have it say don't when you mean for it to say do, and totally change the meaning of it. And don't rush things, because I'm the worst for that. Sometimes I get to a point where I don't even want to look at it anymore. Like, just put the thing out. There's any mistakes? No, it's worth the wait. It's definitely worth the wait for, Kiss Psycho Circus Age. Yeah, that's a fake. That's all I'm going to say. I've seen it. 100%. It's not authorized, and that's the problem. And don't get me started, but people will add those to Discogs, and I don't think they should be allowed.
Right.
Because it clouds the issue. Last officially released Kiss album on 8-track is Animalize,
which you still need.
I have.
Oh, you have.
I have.
Oh,
what I don't have is Creatures of the Night and Lick It Up.
I should know this
because Creatures have both covers on 8-track.
Well, that's the thing. As far as the only one I've ever seen is a retail version, which is beautiful because it's got that beige polygram tape that they were using in the States at the time, and I love that album cover. But it's entirely possible that there's a record club version of the non-makeup cover. I would be perfectly happy with finding either. But yeah. And as a matter of fact, in my Unspooled book, I list Asylum as a possibility that might exist. But I've also seen Sonic Boom and Killers. Those aren't real. They just aren't.
Definitely not.
So I'm not being pedantic.
He's being factual.
I'm being factual, and I'm being educational as I can. And
which is all we can. Which is all we can.
And it gets into that thing where it's like, but I saw it on the internet, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, thanks guys for having me on.
Appreciate it, Tim, considering that we're both freaking.
Hey, you know what this is like? You guys, you know the story of the song Footloose? You probably don't. The song Footloose was co-written by Kenny Loggins and a guy named Dean Pitchford. Apparently, the session that they had booked to write a song, they were commissioned to write a title song for this movie called Footloose. They were both sick as a dog. And both of them were like, I'm not saying anything. I can't cancel this session. We got a deadline. Columbia Pictures needs this, whatever, right? So they're writing this hit single, both of them just completely sick. So
there's a band that covered Fleetwood Mac that is included in your book, a band called Aerosmith, and they have a song called Sick as a Dog. And every freaking time I get sick, I can't get that song out of my head. Sick as a Dog by Aerosmith.
Well, why does Kenny owe you $10, Scott?
It's an interesting.
Maybe he lost a bet because
do you know Mike? Where's he?
I think Scott is. I don't know. Maybe he's into the Friday Night Sauce. I'm not sure.
Well, there is a Fleetwood Mac connection. Can you tell me what it is?
I couldn't.
Kenny Loggins?
Yeah, I couldn't.
No. 1978. Song called Whenever I Call You Friend.
Oh, of course.
Duet with Stevie Nicks.
Yes.
You'd know it if you heard it, Mike. Cool. I'm not even going to attempt to sing it.
No, we're this is a no singing night.
No.
Buddy with rib injury, buddy with, freaking lung infection. No singing tonight. And Harrison has never sung on the show, not even once.
Oh, I did. You going to Scarborough Fair once?
I don't think that counts.
Well, there's some inflection in there. You wait. The very last Maiden series, he's going to belt out "Hallowed Be Thy Name."
Unlikely. Man on the Edge. I'd be a Blaze. I'd have to do a Blaze song.
Stevie Nicks stole my.
That doesn't clear anything up.
I don't think that Scott's being 100% truthful, but I'm not also going to accuse him of being a liar. That could very well have happened. We don't know. There's simply no way to know that for a fact.
You guys ever seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Love that movie. Absolutely. Do the chickens have large talons?
No, but what that made me think of, no one ever know that. It was like, it's like the dumbest video ever made. Napoleon, like anyone could ever know that. Anyway, guys, I'm losing.
Yeah, you take care, buddy. Harrison and I will wrap up.
Thanks for having me on. Check all my books. Amazon.
Check out Durling. Just type in Tim Durling on Amazon and you will find his books.
I'm sorry to hear that, Scott. Yeah, celebrities are a lot.
Yeah. I don't blame you, buddy.
That's
why Axl Rose won't return his phone calls. Anyway, you take care, Tim, and I really appreciate you hanging out tonight.
All right, guys. See ya.
Bye-bye. So Harrison, we have a busy December coming up. I have to somehow I have a special interview this coming Wednesday at 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am interviewing Tom Harper, otherwise known simply as Harper, who played bass on the Kiss smash hit Shandy, which was a big hit in Harrison's home country of Australia. And Harper also worked for LucasArts in the 90s, and he happened to be a contributor. We'll clarify his role to one of my favorite Star Wars games of all time, which is Shadows of the Empire. And apparently he had a lot to do or was behind the opening Hoth battle scene, which was like the greatest thing ever when that game came out. But more importantly, he played on Shandy, and he has a lot of Kiss connections with Ace, with Peter, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about connections with the Joe Perry Project, with Michael Bolton. He likes to joke about his failed music career, but I guarantee you're going to have a blast. There's one album, and I told Harrison this, there's one album, a metal classic, an 80s metal classic, on which he loaned the bass guitar, a Thunderbird bass, to the bass player of this metal band. And it was played on every track of this classic metal album, but it was also the same bass that was played on Shandy. And you'll be shocked to find out what band and what album this is. So really looking forward to talking to Harper. That is going to be live Wednesday, 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yes, this is new information, buddy. We'll get into it. This is one of the questions we have for Harper. So yeah, stay tuned, Scott. This is going to be great. A must-see for Kiss fans. And there is new information coming to light that you've never heard before. Stuff about Peter Criss's solo career. Stuff about music from The Elder. I'm bringing it to you this Wednesday, and I don't know how I'm going to do it because I'm in a lot of pain, but we're going to do it. And Harrison, we are returning this Friday with 50 Years of Iron Maiden. Now, this is a special episode, and I think probably the last one of the year, but I'll let you tell them what's
Sounds
going on.
about right. Right, so we're going to be covering a very special tribute album, one of the most unique tribute albums out there. I don't know how much we want to spoil ahead of time, just to say that you will be going to YouTube. Well, actually, I don't know. Most of it's not on YouTube. You will be going to Discogs after this episode, for sure.
I agree. You are going to hear some Iron Maiden covers like you've never heard them before. I don't want to get into spoiler territory. Now, we're calling it a bonus episode, but really it's just as much of a must watch as any of the numbered episodes. I'm not joking when I say that this tribute album is one of my favorite tribute albums of all time. And it has some, I'm not going to spoil. Let's just cut it off right there. So to sum up, Wednesday, December the 10th, 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be live with Harper, who played bass on Shandy by Kiss, and has some really cool stories. So do not miss that Wednesday night. And then Friday night, Harrison and I will be back at the usual time, 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for what we're calling the best Iron Maiden tribute album you've never heard. I think that's the title we're going with.
A pre-recorded episode.
We will be episode.
And then on screen.
What do we have going on for the balance of December? I think after that, we're heading into the Christmas season.
Yes, I know we have a post-Christmas show planned.
I think that's the 26th.
Yep, that's Boxing Day.
And of course, is there a show between Boxing Day and... Yeah, there must be one. Hang on. Michael's going to the YouTubes, and he's going to confirm the upcoming schedule. It might be the repeat of the Iron Maiden.
Possibly, yes.
Yes, I think we're doing a rerun. Technically not a new episode, but we're doing a rerun for 50 Years of Iron Maiden on Maiden Artwork. That was with Mr. Books and Super Deeks. And then we're into the new year, and we have Blotto. And we have confirmed Bowtie Blotto, Broadway Blotto, and F. Lee Blotto will all be there on January 2nd for a live episode. We're going to talk about a year in the life of Blotto. We're going to talk about the movie, all the accolades. And I'm hoping that director Burt Blotto will be there as well, but I haven't heard back from Burt yet. But we do have the three surviving members of Blotto, Broadway, F. Lee, and Bowtie. And Phone's for me. And they're going to meet Harrison for the first time, and they're going to get to talk to him about his Lego as well, which is really exciting. So, Harrison, as you know, we always like to go out on a song. Do you have anything else you want to say before we go?
No, just to say, same stack time, same stack channel.
That's right. All right. Well, time waits for no man. Harrison, I would like to play you a special track tonight. This is a song called I Don't Advocate Drugs, live by Max the Axe. And Harrison spent how long animating this at a Lego?
The turnaround time from conception to completion was about two months or so.
There you go. So
there was a fair amount of editing involved.
You are about to watch 2 months of work in 3.5 minutes. This is called I Don't Advocate Drugs by Max the Axe. Tune in on Wednesday for Harper and tune in next Friday for 50 Years of Iron Maiden. Take care, everyone. Have a great night.
Hey, where's Pablo?
We're Max the Axe. This is a song about drugs. Try some of this and you'll be feeling free, yeah. Yeah, I tried one more and it wasn't enough. I took one more, yeah, that's the right step. Can't stop it now, I'm a runaway train. Can't feel it now, is this all in vain? I don't advocate booze. Drink too much and you're gonna lose. I don't advocate booze. Drink too much and you're gonna lose it. Once upon a time, this girl, she came up to me and you know what she said? She said, try some of this and you'll be feeling free. Hey, I had one more and it wasn't enough. I took one more, yeah, that's the right step. You can't stop it now, I'm a runaway train. Can't feel it now, is this all in vain? Now once upon a time a man came up to me and he said, try some of this and you'll be feeling free, yeah. Advocate drugs, people. I can't. I'm talking about drugs.
That was the Gods with You Gotta Turn It Up Louder. And now to an interview with tonight's performer, Max the Axe. So tell us, Max, what exactly is a bell jar party?
Friday night, we're rocking the races. Come and see
place to